From the Winter Garden Atrium here at Brookfield Place, welcome to another New Sounds Live concert, this one featuring two guitarists who've practically reinvented the instrument. You'll meet Kaki King in a moment, but for now, please welcome Yasmin Williams. That piece is called Juvenescence, a work by the guitarist Yasmin Williams, here with us in the Winter Garden Atrium at Brookfield Place. And Yasmin, there's some neat choreography involved in that piece.
Yeah.
Because, there are other guitarists who play with the instrument on their lap. I've never seen anybody go from the conventional performance position to the lap in midstream like that.
Yeah, it definitely takes some practice to get the timing perfect so I don't either drop it completely on the floor or just have it slide out of my lap.
Now, how does a piece like this come about? Is there something in the way the song is unfolding that says to you, oh, now I need to tap on my lap as opposed to strum,
Yeah, it's definitely a compositional tool. It seems like I prefer maybe, I guess, including tapping sections kind of as a bridge or just like a transition. But yeah, definitely a compositional tool.
So I remember when we last spoke, you talked a little bit about, as a beginning guitarist, you were immediately drawn to the lap position.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How did that happen? Who were the guitarists that first sort of appealed to you?
Back then, definitely Jimi Hendrix, just for his originality and uniqueness. And this isn't really, they're not like Jimi, but Nirvana, I don't know. I think I like them because their songs were kind of simple enough for me to learn how to play without getting super frustrated as a beginner, especially Smells Like Teen Spirit. That was definitely my jam. But I kind of fell into lap style playing because I wanted to kind of be like Eddie Van Halen, rest in peace, and his amazing tapping style. I really liked tapping guitarists, but I can't do that, I guess, in the conventional quote-unquote way. It's a lot easier for me to just put the guitar in my lap and tap that way. Right.
What about someone like Michael Hedges, the 20th century American guitarist?
I didn't get into him until maybe a year ago. Like, I heard a lot of people mention him, and I just started listening to his music kind of recently, and it's amazing, but I don't really take any, like, technique inspiration from it. I just enjoy listening to his music.
Right. Well, there is a kind of, and we heard it in Juvenescence, there's a kind of an echo of American folk music.
Definitely, yeah.
Did you grow up with that at all?
No, that's also even more recent. Like maybe within the past 6 months, I've gotten into Elizabeth Cotten and older blues guitarists and folk musicians. Yeah, definitely love that stuff. I wouldn't have liked it when I was younger. I probably would have just called it lame and just moved on to like the shredder type Paul Gilberts and whomever else looks cool. But I love the stuff now.
So another striking thing about watching you perform is how little sound is actually being, I mean, I'm standing 10 feet away and I can barely hear what you're doing.
Yeah.
So walk us through the rig that allows all of this to be heard.
It's all in the pedal board. I have a tone dexter made by Audio Sprockets, and it kind of gives my guitar like a full mic sound, which I love. I don't play live shows without it now. But yeah, my guitar is pretty quiet because it has two really large sound ports on the top. They face me.
Right.
So it sounds nice and full to me, and usually to the audience as well if they're closer. But especially in a space like this, it'll be pretty difficult to hear my guitar just straight acoustically.
Right. Well, it's also a very intimate way of making music.
Exactly.
Especially when you're doing it on an acoustic guitar. Mm-hmm. Do you tune the guitar differently, or are you standard?
I use Open D a ton. I'm starting to get into some other tunings, but Open D is still my favorite.
All right. So you've released a recent album.
Yeah, 2018, yeah. My debut album.
Right. Were those pieces done pre-pandemic, or is some of that like home recording?
Well, my first album?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm releasing one next year. That was like, it was during the pandemic, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was doing nothing because all of my shows were canceled, so I kind of just decided to, might as well, I guess, write some more songs and release an album. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So the rest of your set, is it from the current record?
It's from the upcoming record.
From the upcoming one. So these are things we have not heard before. Mm-hmm. All right. What's the name of the next song?
The next one's called I Wonder.
All right. Let's hear Yasmin Williams from New Sounds Live at Brookfield Place.
So, yeah, I'm Yasmin Williams, and I'm super, super, super excited to be here. I'm so excited to be back in New York City. Maybe not in these conditions, but, I'm just excited to get out of my house. So, that last song was called I Wonder, and this next one is called Dragonfly. And all of the songs I'm playing in the set are going to be on my upcoming album called Urban Driftwood, which I hope will be out early 2021, hopefully January. But yeah, this one's called Dragonfly. So this last tune is called Through the Woods, and I use tap shoes as well as this little hammer dulcimer thing. It's called the Angle, and I literally just Googled guitar hammer and found it online. But yeah, it kind of sounds cool. And I also use this kalimba as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this tune.
You've just heard Yasmin Williams playing her piece Through the Woods in this New Sounds live event at Brookfield Place in the Winter Garden Atrium. And we're joined now by guitarist and composer Kaki King. And Kaki, first of all, it's great to see you,
it's good to see you
in
too.
person. But I have to start by asking, the first time you heard Yasmin play, did you recognize a kindred spirit there somehow?
I did, certainly. But what I also recognized was someone who was a much more polished, cleaner, a composer who had trimmed the fat much earlier on than I had. And I think that my early playing was, I had a lot of stuff to prove, and I feel like Yasmin's music is it's already exactly where it needs to be, and that's what I loved about hearing it. I mean, I loved hearing someone play guitar at such a brilliant level, but also sort of bypassing that awkward phase of overdoing it.
So are you saying that early on you had this arsenal of effects and tricks and you felt obliged to kind of show them?
I think early on I was amazed by what was possible, and I didn't always rein it in, and I was having fun. But I also felt like, I had something to prove. And I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. So one of the things that strikes me about both Yasmin's playing and yours is that for the both of you, the guitar is simply a means to an end,
yep,
rather than, the guitar is the be-all and the end-all. So the way that Yasmin kind of changes the actual way she plays in mid-song, there's an analogy to be made to the way that you use the guitar, not just as a musical instrument.
Certainly.
But as a kind of multimedia device.
Well, yes, indeed, that is true. And in the cases where I am able to use projection on the guitar and have the guitar trigger what you're seeing by playing, I mean, I think it is in a way a means to an end, but it's also could only be done with the guitar. And I think that's what, as guitar players, the 6-string flat top guitar it's perfect, and we're not trying to elevate it, we're just trying to expand it.
Right. Well, and it's an instrument that's been around a very long time, and it seems to constantly have this capacity to surprise.
Exactly. And I think that's why, as lifelong guitar players will tell you, you just never stop learning. And there's no end to the mastering or there's always something new around the corner. And I agree.
Well, now, one of the things that many people watching this will perhaps not have seen before is the Passerelle Bridge.
Yes.
Explain what that is and how that came about.
So the Passerelle Bridge it's a little bridge. Passerelle means footpath. It's actually a word for bridge in French. And so it goes underneath my strings and on top of the fretboard. And effectively it takes a 6-string instrument and turns it into a 12-note instrument. And you can pluck on both sides, you can bend those notes on both sides. So it has, the sound of an Asian instrument.
Right.
And there's also lots of overtones. So it really effectively, again, it broadens the scope of what a guitar can do. And I had seen several players do similar things with, pencils and pieces of wood.
Chopsticks.
Exactly, sort of stuck under, but it was always more of a sound effect. And I tried to make it more, again, into like a compositional tool.
It was funny to hear Yasmin referring to turning the guitar almost into like a hammered dulcimer, because what you do with the Passerelle Bridge is essentially to turn the guitar into a zither.
Yes.
You mentioned Asian instruments, the Japanese koto, for example, where you can bend the string on either side of a movable bridge.
Yeah, I wish I had a movable bridge, but we'll get there.
So was this something that you had specifically made?
Yeah, I had, for a long time I was using, sculptor's tools that I would get and sort of file down on one side. And then one luthier friend of mine said, that's simple. How about I, notch out, the real trick was notching out the bottom fret So notching out the bottom of the passerelle so that the fret could sit, so it would be seated well on top of the fret.
So it won't move.
Exactly. And then a very good friend of mine, Rochelle Rosenkrantz, who is the luthier that I work with to build these, who came up with the name. She and I spent a long time really, because you can't just sort of notch six notches for strings in and call it a day, and you had to really figure out the height, how far those notches should be, because it's a very difficult thing to keep in tune. It's a tempered tuning. It's never perfect. And so, that was sort of our R&D, basically. And it took us years because we were kind of like, we'll get there one day. But I think once we really honed in on the final design, we were going, wow, this has a lot more life to it. And a lot of people have become very interested in it.
Yeah. So you've used that in the piece Teak. Mm-hmm. Will we be hearing that piece?
Yes, I'm going to play Teak. I'm going to play a piece after it with the passerelle called Nails.
Once the bridge is fixed, that's your sound for the piece, right?
That's your sound for the piece. That's true. I have not yet figured out how to whip it out with some class and then retune, but
Well, you'd have a slack key guitar on your hand.
An extraordinarily slack key, and yeah.
So what's the first piece you're going to play?
The first piece I'm going to play is from a record that I've made called Modern Yesterdays. It's called Default Shell.
All right. Let's welcome Kaki King.
Song was called Default Shell. And this song is called Godchild. Thank you. This is a song for our times, and I gave it a title that hopefully is more ephemeral than it is eternal. And this song is called Can't Touch This or That or You or My Face. Thank you. The song is on an album called Modern Yesterdays, and it is called Lorlear. To those of you who are watching, I miss you. I miss you very much. I hope I get to see your face and hold it soon. Thank you very much. I'm going to switch gears now, and I'm going to use something called the Passerelle Bridge that John mentioned earlier. Got to get your strings really, really loose. Not too loose. I'm going to take my little doodad right here. And put it under my strings on top of the 16th fret, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I sell these on my website. You can get one if you want. This song is called Bowen Island.
Well, we've just heard Kaki King concluding her set with Night After Sidewalk, and now we have something special as Yasmin Williams and Kaki King will be playing together for the first time. Before the two of you do that, Kaki, before we get too far from Night After Sidewalk, when you were talking earlier about early in your career having to work through stuff, I didn't want to be rude and disagree, but I kept thinking in my head, Night After Sidewalk does not have an extraneous note in it.
That may have been the one perfect song I've ever written. That's
There's
it.
also a lovely version of that piece with the chamber orchestra that you
Yes.
did at Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you've played with in lots of different contexts, string quartet, chamber orchestra, John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats. What have the two of you cooked up for us tonight?
Well, I kind of wrote the duet for us to play, and I sent it to Kaki, and she learned it in like 2 seconds. And
I
that
thought
made it super simple.
that there's a little bit too much of the guitar festival, throw them on stage and make them come
Yeah.
up with something vibe. And I usually end up doing percussive stuff or noodling in a way that I just despise. And so I thought, I love the sound of acoustic guitar doubled. And what if we just basically played almost the same thing, and if we just took the time to learn each other's songs? And so Yasmin sent me a song that was fully written and the tablature, and I just, went piece bit by bit and learned all of it. And I think we're, with a few exceptions of us kind of, duetting and playing over, we're basically going to play it in unison and see how it feels.
So this is, I can see from the setup, Yasmin, that you've got your little miniature floor for the tap shoes. So, I mean,
Own it. Love it. I
did you
love it.
study tap or clogging?
Absolutely not. I cannot dance whatsoever. I'm a complete elephant.
And
Yeah,
yet,
but drumming is a form of dancing,
Thanks.
which is what you're doing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll take
You're
that.
welcome.
so we're about to hear this piece for the first time, which means, Yasmin, you will have to come up with a title for it.
Instant happiness.
Instant happiness.
Wow.
Really.
All
This
right.
song is it's as a guitar player especially, it is so fun to play this song.
It is.
It's an honor.
All right, let's hear it for the first time. Yasmin Williams, Kaki King, and Instant Happiness.